Good morning, students. In this post, we will understand the serial communication circuitry, that is UART, that is present in the proverbial 8051. We will understand everything about UART, its implementation within the 8051 architecture, and its usage using assembly language programs. Note that UART is not a communication protocol like serial protocol or I2C, etc. It is just an electronic circuit that receives and transmits data serially in an asynchronous manner. It could, in theory, be used to facilitate the implementation of a synchronous serial protocol, but it itself is not one. Communication protocols generally have some standards to maintain, and these standards are governed by groups or consortiums. Computers can communicate with one another using serial or parallel transmission of data. In the case of serial communication, one wire is enough to send multiple bits of data in the form of a stream of bits. But for parallel communication, individual wires are required for each bit. So, for serial communication, only one wire is used to transfer 8-bit data bit by bit, whereas parallel communication requires 8 wires. When it comes to the speed of data transmission, parallel communication is faster but can cause issues like crosstalks and is costlier due to the higher amount of wires it is need. Serial communication, on the other hand, is cheaper as it uses only one wire to transfer data. Their unique pros and cons, notwithstanding, the choice of their implementation varies depending upon the application. They are both useful in certain specific settings. Let us dive into serial communication since that is the prime focus of this video. Let us start our discussion with the types and modes of serial communication. Serial communication can occur in two ways: asynchronous communication and synchronous communication. In asynchronous communication, as the name suggests, asynchronous communication does not use a synchronizing clock signal when transferring data. It uses special characters known as start and stop bits, which helps the computer synchronize their communication. These bits also helps the communicating devices known when a frame of data is over. This makes it cheap to implement but can be less efficient when compared to synchronous communication. When we go to the synchronous communication, in this case, the two devices communicating with another uses the same clock signal to synchronize the data transmission. What that means is that we use a clock. The clock is common to both the communicating parties. The reason we use the clock is to tell the device when the data is being sent and at what speed it needs to sample the data to make sense of it. This makes it faster and more efficient as it does not have any overhead in terms of start and stop bit. Communication in general between any two devices can follow three different modes of transmission: simplex, half duplex and full duplex. In simplex, this mode of communication, there is one-way movement of data and only the transmitter can send data. In half duplex, both the transmitter and receiver can transmit data, but they can do it at the same time. In full duplex, both the receiver and transmitter can communicate at the same time. These are applicable for serial communications too. Now that we know that the serial communication is, what are its two types and what to call it when it is in particular direction, let's zero in on how serial communication takes place in 8051 microcontroller. For serial communication, the 8051 can use either synchronous or asynchronous type. To select which type will be used, we will use a combination of registers. We will be talking about them in great detail in the coming sections. Let us understand this first. Whenever two computers communicates with one another, there are few details that need to be known. since they are computers and kind of need to be spoonified with all necessary informations. The computer need to know when will the data be sent, what will be the size of the data, at what speed the data will be sent. To answer all these questions, computer either follow protocols when they communicate with one another or use special circuits. In this case, our 8051 microcontroller IC uses a special circuitry by design carries the answer to above three questions. This special circuitry or module is known as UART. Its full form is Universal Asynchronous Receiver or Transmitter. Let us look at the Universal Asynchronous Receiver or Transmitter UART serial communication method to get insight on how it works. UART, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter, as the name suggests, is an asynchronous mode of data transmission. In the case of asynchronous data transmission, individual bits of data are transferred in the form of frames. These frames have gaps in between them so that the device can synchronize itself to receive data as it does not use an external clock. A UART frame consists of data to be transmitted and start and stop bits. In some cases, the number of stop bits can be 2, but the start bit is always a single bit. Also, the 8051 supports full duplex communication, which means it can transmit and receive data at the same time. This is made possible by the special design of serial buffer register about which we will talk in the coming section. The start bit helps in synchronization and it is a low signal for a particular duration of time. The stop bit is a high bit and is followed by a space of low signal, which is used to tell the receiver that a particular character can be transmitted. In some cases, a parity bit is also sent with the data to check for transmission errors. Some modern microcontrollers with 8051 IP core supports multiple UART in addition to other protocols like I2C and serial port interface for easy interfacing with other devices. Serial communication requires a number of registers. Let us have a look at them to understand serial communication in a better way. SBUF register, that is serial buffer register. These are two buffer registers that holds the received data and the data to be transmitted. Next, serial control register SCON. The control center for serial communication in 8051. The next register is TMOD register. This register controls the speed of transmission, and PCON register, it is used to double the speed of transmission. These are all the registers which are all used in the serial communication. Let us first discuss about the SBUF register. The SBUF register is an 8-bit register which is used only for serial communication. The SBUF or serial buffer register is actually two registers and not one. Before transmitting or receiving any data is placed in it, during transmission, start and stop bits are added to the data once it is placed in the serial buffer register, and then the data is transferred to the TXD pin, that is port 3.0. In the case of reception, the data is received through the RXD pin, that is port 3.1, placed in the serial buffer register, and framing bits are being removed. The serial buffer register is placed at memory location 99H of 8051 special function register memory space. It consists of two registers and shift registers to convert the serial data into parallel or vice versa. As the 8051 has two independent registers, it can transmit and receive data at the same time. The shift registers in the received side acts as a buffer. It allows one byte of data to be received while another is stored in the buffer. If one byte is read by the CPU and the other is not fully received, this mechanism prevents erroneous reception. SCON register, that is serial control register. To manage this asynchronous communication between devices, the serial control register is used. The serial control register is placed at the address 98H and it is bit addressable. You can think of the serial control register as the main control register for the universal asynchronous receive transmit. SM2. This bit is used to enable multiprocessor communication in mode 2 and 3. This pin is mostly set to 0. The next pin, REN. The REN bit enables or disables reception. If REN bit is high, then the microcontroller can receive bit at port 3.1, but when it is 0, this port is disabled. Next bit is TB8. This register stores the 8th bit in mode 2 and 3 during transmission. Then RB8 bit. This register stores the 8th bit in mode 2 and 3 during the reception of data. Next, TI bit. This interrupt is raised by the hardware when the transmission is complete for a block of data. Next, RI bit. This interrupt is raised by the hardware when a complete block of data is received. Finally, SM0 and SM1. These bits selects the modes for serial communication. We have totally of 4 modes in serial communication. Out of these, 3 modes enables asynchronous communication, that is mode 1, 2 and 3. Mode 0 enables synchronous shift register mode communication. Out of these 3 modes for asynchronous communication, one has a fixed baud rate, that is mode 2 has a fixed baud rates. 2 modes communicate in 9-bit sequence, that is mode 2 and mode 3 communicates in 9-bit sequence, and 2 modes communicate in 8-bit data sequence, that is mode 0 and mode 1. Let us discuss about the modes of serial communication in detail. First, mode 0. During this mode, the transfer of data occur in a synchronous fashion. The transmit data TXD, which originally stands for transmission, that is pin number 3.1, is used to send receive the synchronous clock signal, and the RxD, which stands for receive, pin number port 3.1, is used for transferring and receiving the data. Reception of data requires REN, receive enable, equal to 1 and RI is equal to 0. In this mode, the synchronizing clock signal is the frequency of one machine cycle. In the case of 8051, this is 11.059 MHz divided by 12, that is equal to 921.6 MHz. Just to emphasize, the transmit pin function can be little misleading as it is used here for sending the synchronizing clock signal. In this mode, data is transferred as it would in a shift register, bit by bit, with a common synchronizing clock signal. 8-bit data is shifted LSB first. Transmission starts as soon as data is written into the SBUF. Value of SCON for transmitting data in mode 0 is 00H. Value of SCON for receiving data in mode 0 is 10H. Mode 1. Mode 1 is the most commonly used mode for UART based serial communication. You will mostly use this mode for a majority of your similar UART related applications. In this mode, the UART circuitry is used and the data can be transferred at a variable baud rate which are generated by timer 1. Here, the 8051 follows a full duplex mode of communication and can transmit and receive data at the same time. For mode 1 in full duplex, the value 50H should be inserted into SCON register. For mode 1 in half duplex, the value 40H should be inserted into SCON register. Mode 2. This mode also implements UART communication but can be used to transfer or receive 9 bits of data only. The baud rate during this mode is fixed to machine cycle frequency. We will look into the baud rate generation in the subsequent section. TB8 RB8 stores the 9th bit during the same. The 9th bit is used for sending parity bit or is used in multiprocessor communication. The 9th bit is managed by TB8 RB8 in SCON register. For mode 2 in full duplex, the value 90H should be inserted into the SCON register. For mode 2 in half duplex, the value 80H should be inserted into the SCON register. Next, mode 3. This mode is similar to mode 2 but can transfer data at variable baud rate generated by timer 1. For mode 2 in full duplex, the value 130H should be inserted into the SCON register. For mode 2 in half duplex, the value 120H should be inserted into the SCON register. TI and RI flag bits. The TI and RI flags plays a very important role in serial communication. Let us say you want to transmit data to an external device and you place it in the serial buffer register, but before it is transmitted, you send another character to the serial buffer register. This could cause issue in overlapping. Move SBUF #23. It will write 23H into the serial buffer register to transfer to another device. Move SBUF #52H. 52H is written to SBUF before 23H is transmitted and could lead to erroneous data transmission. To fix this issue, the TI flag is used. It is a bit in the SCON register which is raised by the microcontroller every time 1 byte of data is successfully transmitted from the SBUF register. This is how using the TI flag fixes the problem. Move serial buff SBUF #23H, which writes 23H into the SBUF register to transfer to another device. JNB TI. It waits for 23H to be transmitted, then clear TI. It will clear the interrupt flag. Next, move SBUF #52H. By means of giving in such a manner, no erroneous data transmission will be there. All the data will be transmitted. So TI plays a major role in stopping the erroneous or overwriting a data which is not being transmitted previously. The RI flag performs a similar task during reception. When the 8051 receives data serially from another device, it places it in the shift register. Once the register is full, it sends the data to the SBUF register and raises the RI, telling the programmer that the complete data has been received. JNB RI means it waits for the entire byte. CLRI, it will clear the RI register. After that, the new data will be received. This is how TI and RI flag bits helps during the serial transmission and reception. Next, T-mod registers and baud rate generator. As mentioned in our previous video on timer and counter, the master clock of the microcontroller is divided by 12 to give the machine cycle frequency. In the case of serial communication, this machine cycle frequency is divided by 32 and fed to timer 1. So, the timer 1 gets a frequency of 28,800 Hz. What this means is that the timer gets 28,800 pulses in a second. Now, there are a number of baud rates that can be generated by using timer 1 and this input frequency. The table for the same is shown here. All this might look a little confusing to you, so let us try to look at the working of the timer and how all this happens. Let us take 9600 MHz as an example. In this case, timer 1 is set to mode 2 auto reload, in which every time the timer overflows the value in TH1. In the case of generating 9600 MHz baud rate, TH1 is fed a value of FDH, that is 253, and as it is an 8-bit up counter, it counts up from 253 to 255 and then overflows. This frequency of overflow is used to generate the baud rate. As mentioned above, that happens every 3 clock pulses, making the baud rate 28,800 divided by 3, that is equal to 9600 MHz. Next we will discuss about the PCON register for doubling the baud rate. Bit 7 of the PCON register can be used to double the baud rate. When the SMOD bit is set to 0, the value of dividing factor changes from 32 to 16, due to which the baud rate doubles. The following formula can be used to find the value to be put in TH1 when SMOD is equal to 1. That is, TH1 is equal to 256 minus crystal frequency divided by 192 into baud rate. When SMOD is equal to 0, then TH1 will be equal to 256 minus crystal frequency divided by 384 into baud rate. Now adding a parity bit. Parity bits are used in mode 2 and 3. The main reason for using parity bit is to ensure correct data transmission. In some cases, due to noise in the channel, data gets corrupted. So, to keep erroneous transmission reception in, check parity bits are added. To send a parity bit, the particular bit must be put in TB8 register, which transmit the data with the 8-bit data in mode 2 or 3. This bit is received and stored in the RB8 register during the reception. Now that we have an idea of component required for serial communication, let us look at a few programs to understand it better. Now let us transfer a data using UART, sending a data ABC using UART. The first line, move SMOD #50H, is used to set the mode 1 receiver enable. Move TMOD #20H, it will make timer 1 to operate in mode 2. Move TH1 #253. This puts the reload value in TH1 to generate a baud rate of 9600. Set bit TR1, it will start the timer. Move 40H #A. This is nothing but of this 40H is nothing but of the ASCII value of A, and 41 is nothing but of the ASCII value of B, and 42 is nothing but of the ASCII value of C. Move R0, #40H puts the starting address in the R0. A call send text. So it will call the subroutine for sending the text. So in the subroutine, move A at R0. This will move data pointer to by R0 into the A. Jump 0 to finish. If the content of A are equal to 0, then jump to finish. If not, then get the data from the register and start the transmission by means of loading it to the serial buffer. Once it is being loaded to the serial buffer, again the R0 is being incremented, the next data is being taken and it is being put into the serial buffer and it is being transmitted. If the entire characters are being sent and the bit is being completed, then clear the TI and jump to send transmit. In the receiver section, if you want to receive the transmitted data, this particular code to be written in the receiver section. Move SMOD, #50H. This will set mode 1 receiver enable. Move TMOD #20H. It will put timer 1 in mode 2, and move TH, #253 put the reload value in TH1 to generate the baud rate of 9600. Set bit TR1, start the timer 1, and JNB R1 here is nothing but of checking the R1 RI flag to see if the complete bit is being received. Once the complete bit is being received, it is being from the serial buffer, it is being moved to the accumulator, and from accumulator it is being moved to port 1. After the data is being received, the RI is being cleared and the next data is being received by means of SJump. This is how a serial transmission and reception can be made using microcontroller. So in the previous video on interrupts in 8051, we had mentioned that we would be covering serial interrupts in this post. In the case of serial communication, the interrupts behaves a little different from what we had seen in the post on interrupts. Both RI and TI interrupt flags have the same ISR, and whenever any one of these flags are being raised, the control is transferred to the serial interrupt ISR. Also, the RETI command does not clear the RI and TI flag bits and needs to be cleared by software. The advantage of using interrupts in serial communication is that while data is being transmitted or received, the microcontroller can perform any other task. Once any of these tasks are being completed, the RITI flags are being raised, which interrupts the execution of the microcontroller, taking it to the interrupt service routine. This saves a lot of CPU resources that were being wasted in the polling approach. Let us see an example of data received at port 1 is being transferred to port 2. This data is also transferred serially using UART, and if data is received from the serial port, it is also sent to port 2. Note that in case of other interrupts, the interrupt flags are reset when the RETI instruction executes, but in the case of serial communication, this has to be done by the programmer. We hope this video helps you to understand all the concepts related to serial communication in 8051.